Hi, this is Tim Best Buzz. You're listening to my non-objective opinion on People's Radio United. Today I'm here with Simone Sonnier-Jang. Did I say that right, Simone?
Close. Yeah,
Okay.
pretty close.
So how are you doing?
I am doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're here today, and then we'll get going with the questions, more questions.
I am a mixed race mother of two who was pretty much born and raised in California. I have a rough, bumpy background, I'll say, with I'll say variable jobs, also different bouts of homelessness, and now I currently am a small business owner.
That's awesome. So you used to work at McDonald's, correct?
Yes.
You want to tell us a little bit about what happened over there?
Oh, that's a extremely fun story. But when I was working at McDonald's, I was approached by one of the Fight for 15 employees. Um, he came and approached me after I left work and asked me if I heard about it, asked me about wages, asked me about sick time and all this. You know, as a McDonald's employee, as any type of fast food employee, sick time is not even something that's comprehensible pretty much, you know?
Yeah.
And so upon talking to him, I was like, yeah, dude, I totally need to speak out. I totally see that this group is here to support me with that. And I heard other things about them, variable things on the news, you know, good or bad. And so I decided to go ahead and work with them. Upon working with them, I went to multiple protests. I was pretty well at speaking, decently well, and I first spoke in Sacramento in front of some Senate members, I believe it was, and that was mm, at the end of 2013. And at that time, they had, you know, their McDonald's like croonies, I want to say, they're trying to dispute us on people coming to work sick, trying to dispute us on, you know, improper conduct by managers that's never written up or anything, improper training. Um, I think it was successful though, because after that, then Congresswoman Linda Sanchez had me be her guest to the State of the Union. Um, After I went to the State of the Union, right when I came, oh, I'm sorry, I'm leaving out a few things. I'm just going to backtrack a little.
No worries. Go ahead.
Um, After I spoke in Sacramento in front of the Senate members, that was my first time getting written up for my register being short. And there was this one manager there. His name was Dominic slash Cassie slash Andre, which I'm like, why do you have so many names? But anyway, this manager was the one who would always take my register. And every time he would take my register, it would come up short. And he was also the one who would just be really rude. Oh, you think you're going to get that much money? Like he would say stuff like that, unnecessary, you know?
So he was against the fight for 15, even though it would help him as well.
Yes. And I'm sure as a manager, he wasn't even making 15 because even though you're not supposed to be dating my boyfriend at the time also worked there and he was in the management training program, and management only gets 30-cent raises like every 8 months or something nonsense like that. Like even while I was there, you get a 10-cent, you're up for review for a 10-cent raise after 6 months, which I think is ridiculous. Because
It
what are you
is.
really going to do with 10 cent? Like, really?
Considering your CEOs of the company make about a few thousand times more than you guys are making.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
so yeah,
definitely.
were you a full time or part time employee?
I was part time. If you even got close to full time, you were written up.
Yeah, I know a lot of fast food and minimum wage jobs. They don't give you full time because they don't want to give you benefits, and they keep you on a part time basis and keep cutting hours. Is that what they were doing to you there?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been through that. Were you guys trying to unionize the McDonald's, or just try to get the wages up through the state and the federal government?
It was dual with SCIU, which is the organization I went through with the Fight for 15. They
Hmm.
were about creating unions, and they wanted to make a fast food workers union.
Yeah, I tried to unionize a Little Caesars. I was working at quite a few years back, and it was disastrous.
So,
It was going really good at first, and then what happened was I got mad because they were treating the workers who weren't. I mean, they had a couple of white workers and black, but the Mexican workers they were treating them really bad, like talking down to them. And then people couldn't get raises. We were supposed to get a 10-cent raise. They wouldn't give us. So I said, if you don't give everybody that raise, I'm going to unionize the place. And they laughed at me. And then I did, and I went to the union, and we had everyone's support. And what they did was they started paying people off. They bought I wouldn't sell out, but the second guy that was really fighting for union, they bought him a motorcycle he wanted. And he turned against us for that. And then everybody else at the time, they got PlayStation portables, the PSPs, or they got their choice of that or an iPod. And they sold out the whole future of everyone who works for that company for something that cost a couple $100s. That if the union would have been able to go through, they would have been able to buy that with their own money, you know. And
yeah.
I always thought how sickening that was.
I had
But
a similar incident at McDonald's, but mine is even more ridiculous. After I went to the State of the Union, when I came back, like I said, my register kept coming up short with this one exact manager, and they kept writing me up. And I was like, just check the cameras. There's a camera pointed at every register, And then they're like, no, we're going to have to write you up completely. We're going to have to terminate you. And I was like, sure, go ahead, but I'm not signing anything. You can just say I'm on leave for a little while, but I'm not signing anything to say I agree with this termination because I didn't steal anything. And of course, they couldn't do anything. I had some lawyers and such with SEIU talk to them, which I quite frankly feel like that was definitely suable, but and then when they
well,
like
you
have,
know what the thing is in California, the corporations have all the rights. They can
mm,
fire you for any time at any reason
mm,
for anything they want legally. So it doesn't. They can't. It's really hard to get them on that. Because with me, they just said you don't like it here. You think you should go get more money? Go get another job. We're ending your employment here today.
wow, yeah, yeah, that's so ridiculous.
Did they attack any of the other workers who were going along with the fight for 15 or the unionizing at the McDonald's you were at, or just you?
It was only me, pretty much.
Were you the
Like
most vocal?
I was the only one participating at my McDonald's. There was one other person that came to like one meeting, and then they just stopped.
Oh, I see. So you were the target there. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened to me. I was the loudest one, and I mean, because at the Little Caesars, they closed the whole store down, brought in a big screen, and played movies and stuff for all the people all day. After I was fired, I heard this, and then they gave them free pizza all day. It was like a party inside, and the whole store was closed. And at the end, I found out they spent over $750,000 fighting this union that I tried to do. So I
See, that's
mean,
ridiculous. That is so ridiculous. Well,
yeah,
about that paying people off, this shows just how much the workers here, at least in California, at least at the McDonald's I worked at, their spirits are so downtrodden that all they did was have a raffle, and people were so excited about a raffle, and then some food, like some chicken or something. And I was like, Like, what is this? Like, when I came back from being fired, they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to have a raffle for employee appreciation. And I was like, I think it was, I asked another employee who had been working there like 6 years. I was like, do they do this all the time? She's like, no, this is the first time they've done this. And I was
That's
like,
it.
okay.
That's exactly what they do, the employee appreciation. I think that's one of the things the union buster lawyers come with, because they have
Yeah.
so much propaganda. They show them videos about how horrible the unions are and how you'll be destitute if you go. I mean, these are poor people. I mean,
Yeah.
we were all poor, and I made $4,000 the whole year I was there. That's all I could make, begging for more hours. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, I've always sold weed on the side, so that kind of kept me going. But but I could
Yeah.
not survive with just that job. It'd be impossible. And I don't know how people do it. I mean, people have to work 3, 4 jobs sometimes, all over the place, driving Ubers, working at fast food, and then they're mocked like they're just scum because they're working so hard by somebody who barely makes more money than they do. It
Hmm.
really just blows my mind how the society works with that.
It's
Um,
crazy. It's ridiculously unnecessary. Oh, but back to the raffle thingy.
yeah.
So the lady pulls the ticket. She pulls the first ticket. She gives me the ticket. And then she starts passing out the other ones. I give this other chick, like this super like meek chick, I give her my ticket. And I'm like, here, you can have two now. Good luck. Of course, the chick wins. And then she's all excited. Woohoo. And I was like, what you in? She's like, a cup. And I was like, wow,
Wait, a cup?
a cup. Woohoo. Yes,
Wow. Yeah,
yes.
at least
And they
they
were
paid.
so excited to win these dumb cups and shirts. And I was like, how about all the money you spent making these cups and shirts? You like spread it out amongst us. I was like, I would have loved the money that it costs to make this cup and shirt. I mean, I'm sure it'll sense because you bought it from China, but nevertheless. And then the manager's all, ha 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 ha, like she thought it was funny. And I was like, no, it's not funny.
Yeah, we had what they did was the manager of our place kind of supported us a little bit, like kind of secretly, but he was cool. And they found out and they got rid of him first.
Oh
They
gosh.
didn't fire him. They just transferred him to another store and brought this real hard ass dude in that was just like really mean and evil and didn't give a dang about anybody. He was so much above us. With his $3 more an hour he made, he was superior to all of us in his own mind.
Of course.
Yeah.
Lowly peasants.
Yeah, I don't understand their logic on any of this. So, did they did they do anything else, like give you guys parties or shut down the store or give them indoctrination about how horrible unions are, like they did with us at the McDonald's?
It seemed to me that the people that they hired were already too scared to move anyway, so they really had to do nothing other than, I don't know, like when I was speaking to my coworkers, they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna get fired," and I'm like, "Who said that?" And they're like, "I just think I am." That's it. Like no one even had to say anything to them. And then because there was a big ruckus pretty much after I got fired, the SEIU members came, like a pastor came. We like all had shirts on and came back in, and we are like, give my job back, stop being unfair, blah blah blah. And that my coworkers are all red in the face. Half of them really weren't very good at speaking English, so maybe that was the thing that they thought like, oh, this is the best I can get.
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, it's totally just exploitation of people.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm sorry, I had a question, and when you said that, I got upset, and it distracted me a little bit. Um, yeah, it just
Yeah,
enrages
'cause
me
it's
how this
so
works.
upsetting. It is because it's like you're making this giant split of class, and you're also making slaves pretty much. You're just making modern day slaves that are barely able to scrape by, and then you're sending out this dumb propaganda that it's high school students, it's college students. I haven't even seen barely half of a high school student, which is ridiculous sounding, but
Yeah.
there's like the high school students that would work there would be maybe one or two, and they would work like 1 day a week or something. They wouldn't even be there to even be counted barely an employee.
I've been in the fast food places and seen like people that were in their 50s and 60s working there. I mean,
Yeah,
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 it's all
and they're trying
propaganda.
to make it.
And you were a mother at the time when you were working
Yes,
there as well.
yes. And I was
So
going to school.
So their total disregard for somebody's family. I mean, because you got to realize all these people have a lot of these people have families, and you know they're trying to take care of their families.
Yeah.
And it's just so disgusting how these companies and corporations treat people, and they're allowed to get away with that. I mean, our government always backs them. In my opinion, both sides do, whether it's the blue or the red side. Um, I don't know. I don't know. So what was the outcome in this? You just got fired and moved on, or was there a suit or
No,
anything else?
I I got hired back. I got fired and then rehired, and then I also got back pay for I think I missed a week and a half. So they just totaled out the maximum hours I could have made, and then they were like, "Pay her this," and I was like, "Yes." And that happened, and then I just was like, "Okay, I'm done with this. I'm going to find my own job." And that's when I went ahead and started working for this cleaning company. So,
They
and
gave you.
then after,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, and then after I worked for the cleaning company, I just built my own clientele base.
That's cool. That's really awesome that you were able to pull yourself up from working at these crappy jobs. So when you were at McDonald's, most of the people were supportive of you, but they were just scared. Is that what you were telling me a second ago?
Yes, yes, like, and
How do
then
you?
oh,
Oh, go
they
ahead.
were supportive in that they will be like, "Oh, that would be really nice." Like if we're all in the break room together, which half the time if I go into the break room, people would leave. So it's kind of like a slightly an outcast, but I didn't care because I'm like, you guys don't understand. This is bigger than this job. Like, and then, but I would talk to, I'll say my less indoctrinated employees or co-workers, and then they would say, "Oh, well, that would be nice if we could get, some sick time and some higher pay, but I don't think we really should get 15. That's too much for this job." Also, oh, well, but then yeah, that's like unrealistic. So yeah, that would be nice if that could happen, but it's unrealistic. That's what they like. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if you know about bartering. I don't know if you ever done sales, but you shoot high.
Well,
At
15
least.
isn't even high. I mean, I think it should be fight for 25 because if you're giving people part-time jobs, that's what they need to live on.
Yeah,
I mean, I think
15
it's
really
ridiculous.
is it. Yeah, especially for a company that's raking in billions and it's international. And I feel like if the CEO and CFO are riding around in a private jet, then I feel like the employees should have at least 2 sick days off a month, maybe medical and dental. I mean, maybe vision. Maybe you can throw that in there. Maybe take away the private jet, toss in healthcare.
Well, I think healthcare should be a human right that we all get because we pay taxes, and if they just paid for a few less wars around the world, it would be very simple to handle that.
Very true.
But yeah, I mean, but right
Yeah,
now the way it is, the job should give you healthcare. I mean, you're working for
yeah.
them, you're making these executives filthy rich. I mean, that's the very least they could do, especially since they're not paying people and not giving them hours.
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate for a maximum wage. I really believe that would be the thing that could stop the wage inequality. You
That
know,
makes sense.
like you can't make so much more than your employees. You can make maybe 30 or 50 times more than your employees instead of 2,000 times more than your employees.
Yes.
Because when I like again going back to the Little Caesars I worked at, the guy who owned that owned like major sports teams and everything else. And I mean, I'm like, we're getting paid back then. I think it was like $6 or $7 an hour was minimum wage. You know, is he paying his baseball players the same amount we're getting? Because you think that would be cool? And nobody seemed to understand that. You know, they're playing a game. We're slaving around with hot ovens all day, dough all over us. Our clothes are ruined every single day, and we have to rush and get them done faster and faster and faster because they're throwing these $5 pizzas out at people. And,
Hmm.
no athlete worked that hard. I'm sorry, but no athlete who makes millions of dollars worked as hard as we were working up in there every single day. And I just think it's really disgusting how these people think. So what do you think the Fight for 15 needs to do to from now on? I mean, I know they got the $15 an hour law passed. What do you think their next move should be, in your opinion?
I think really focusing on the whole union aspect and educating people on what a union is and how it's a safety net versus a added expense. Because a lot of people think, oh, it's just going to make me broke and I'm never going to use it.
Yeah, I think the unions need to act right a little more than they do, and sometimes too. Because I know I've worked with some unions, and some of them run really close to the corporations. They're not really 100% for the people like they used to be. Unions used to be really, really strong,
Mm-hmm.
and probably maybe since Reagan and Bush and times like that, they got weaker and weaker because you got the rich people and the oligarchy just totally fighting them because they don't want people to have rights. So in my opinion, I think we need to strengthen the unions and get rid of any kind of sellouts in these unions and make them just 100% for the people.
Yes.
I mean, because
I
look how
don't.
the police unions are amazing. I mean, they protect murderers. Keep your
Mhm.
job. I know you murdered a couple people, but you can keep your job. I interviewed an officer named Alex Salazar a while back. He's an ex cop because he couldn't. He was actually in Rampart. I don't know if you know about that, but yeah, the unions have kept some cops who killed 9 people on the job. So why can't like food workers unions just protect people who aren't murdering people daily? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I think the unions need to be strengthened. I don't know how to do it, but I think that's the first goal, in my opinion. And then I think
Yeah,
they need to fight for higher wages than 15. Because
definitely.
the scam they pull is that, oh, if you go to McDonald's and people are making 15 an hour, your burger is going to cost so much more. But the
Mm-mm.
fact of the matter is, Australia, I think they start at $12 or $15 an hour starting at McDonald's, and their burgers cost 7 cents more than ours do, or 17 cents or something. It's like a ridiculously small amount that I think
Yes.
any decent person would say, hey, these people are making good money here, or not even good money, but enough money that maybe they can survive. I'll pay the extra 17 cents for a crappy burger.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with that. Um, we do a monthly show every month with People's Radio where we just talk about current kind of events. And the last show we did, I think I was kind of thinking about this show coming up here. And we were talking about how customers going into a fast food place
Mhm.
treat the workers sometimes just like they're just nothing.
Mhm.
And have you witnessed that before? Because I have, working at low wage jobs. Like they look down on you. And like I said
Yeah.
before, they're making a lot of these people are just making a few dollars more an hour, if that, more than you, or have a
I,
job where they're not getting greasy or something, and think they're superior.
I was always at the register, so I had to deal with customers being rude and demanding a lot. And for the most part, I was pleasant and didn't sign on or didn't, you know, aid in their aggravation that they came into McDonald's with. So I feel like it would be diffused quickly. But sometimes there was people who just had some point that they had to prove, which is, oh, you're dumb because look at you over there and I'm over here. And I'm like, well, look at what you're purchasing, though.
Eventually, it'll
Like,
kill
really,
you.
look at what you're purchasing. I'm sorry. I don't buy McDonald's myself. And even when I was there, I would eat a salad or wrap. And then I stopped eating the wrap because while I was speaking out, I kept getting sick off the wrap, which I was like, dude, what's up? Anyway.
Did they let you eat for free there, or did you have to pay for your food?
Yeah, you have one employee meal for free.
Yeah, we would wait till the manager would leave, and then we make food whenever I worked at fast food because they didn't let us. And I'd
Oh, no.
always think, to buy something they have here, I work an hour and I can't even afford this. How sick is that?
Yeah. You have to work like an hour and a half pretty much just to get
Yeah,
one meal.
isn't that
And don't try to
horrible?
supersize it or whatever.
Yeah.
I
So
think
what?
it's
Oh, go
so
ahead.
ridiculous too that the salad I think was $6 while a burger is like 3. Like why are you, what? Like I don't understand that.
It makes you wonder what kind of meat they're using.
Yeah. Like that nowhere does lettuce cost more than beef. In any store, you can get like a pound of lettuce way cheaper than a pound of beef. Like that makes no sense at all. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Can we talk a little bit more about the kind of just before any of the drama happened with the union or the Fight for 15,
Hmm.
how they treat their employees, like what they expect of you. I mean, some of the unrealistic for what they're paying, I think it's unrealistic to expect what they expect from the workers.
Um, like I said, my job was mostly, I started with the fries, but I was there for maybe a week and a half or something. And then I was at the register after that, and I just stayed on register until I was fired for being short. And then I was like, I will not go on register. Put me back on fries. I refuse.
Do you think you
But
were? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. But real quick, do you think you were hired back just because you had the lawyers and the people standing behind you, and if you didn't, maybe you wouldn't have been able to get hired back there?
definitely, if it was just me, they wouldn't care.
Yeah. So most
They,
employees who would get fired under those circumstances, I mean, you got incredibly lucky with people backing you.
yes, I could read. I have the book here. I was short 97 cent in total because you're allowed a certain amount, and I was short 97 cent and was fired over 97 cent.
What
So,
amount are you allowed?
I think you're allowed. Hold on, I have to look through my papers, but I'm pretty sure it was $2 or something like that. You're allowed $2 even.
So you weren't even above what you had to get, Nate. So that was just really scandalous why they fired you. It was definitely a targeted kind of thing, correct?
Yes, and then with the dates coincide perfectly with right after I spoke. Um, right when I came back from the State of the Union, my first day back was February 6th or something. And that's when I was short the 97 cent. And then that's when I was fired. But before that, with after I spoke, I was on the news at rallies, etc. Then we added up we looked at the calendar and everything, and it was perfectly like the next time I had work, I was somehow short exactly. Um, yeah, and it was always the same dude, always the same manager who was, one of those shisty, scandalous, rude, heartless. You're wondering at any point in time, have you ever smiled? Kind of people.
Do you think he did it of his own accord because he just was against you guys making more money, or do you think he was told to do that to get rid of you?
I think he was told to do that because I think he is just like a cog in the system, totally.
Yeah, these tools got to learn. I mean, it doesn't take much for everyone just to walk out and shut down a whole store. It's just getting people's, like you said earlier, they're scared. A lot of people. If you could eliminate that fear, we have all the power. All the
Yeah,
workers walk out, he's not making money that day.
no,
And I think workers really need to stand next to each other. I mean, we all in the same crappy jobs together. Why not stand up for each other? You attack one of us, you're attacking all of us. And I don't understand why it doesn't work like that sometimes, but I guess it is the fear or
hmm,
the indoctrination they give you that it's not worth it, and you don't deserve this kind of money. I spoke with
yeah,
one lady who was in her 60s, and she was working a skilled job doing actually framing, like carpentry and stuff. And she was making, after 30 years working there, she was making almost $13 an hour.
hmm,
And she said it was her fault she wasn't rich because she could have worked harder.
uh,
And I'm like, but they weren't going to pay you more. You're slaving away at 60 years old doing what people 20 and 30 years old are doing, sweating. I mean, building frames for people, doing skilled carpenter work, and they're paying you $12 an hour, and you're blaming yourself. Well, your
Yeah.
executives are coming in BMWs and Mercedes, to check up on you and everything off your sweat and your labor. And people don't understand that. You stop working, they stop making money.
Yeah.
Did McDonald's do any strikes while you were there, where people just walked out, or they weren't doing that?
Not really my location. Other locations would, but like my location, everyone was like
Controlled.
super, super controlled. And then they made sure that the people on my shift were not the more outspoken ones because I can't remember the dude's name, but he was like a college age kid and he's one of the people who went to the meeting and then they broke our like they put him on a different shift than me after like they saw we were talking to each other. And then they put me with like people who could barely speak English and people who were just like, "Oh, you're ridiculous."
Yeah, I was doing these flyers for all the workers and going to other Little Caesars and trying to get them on board when I was doing that, kind of just on my own. I would have barbecues at my house and invite all the workers there and try to really organize them, but it just seemed like there was always some kind of sellout in the mix telling people what was going on. But
Mm-hmm.
you can't discriminate against the workers because you want them all involved. But yeah,
Oddly
it's just.
enough,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, oddly enough, it seemed like that kind of stuff would happen, or somebody like while myself and other McDonald's workers from other locations were supposed to like meet up to discuss what we're going to try to rally for and like how we're going to get more workers on or something. And then one person would tell other people the wrong day and time, and then they wouldn't even show up. You know what I mean?
Intentionally, huh?
Yeah. And then
Wow.
later on, they would just stop coming. But then the other people would come, like, what the heck? And then we're like, no, yeah, we said this day. And they're like, oh, well, blah, 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 blah said that day. And then we're like, okay.
Yeah, the union asked me to stop putting the flyers out, and I told them to go screw themselves. They was like, "You're gonna get us sued," and I was like, "I don't care." They go, "You'll get yourself sued." I don't care because the flyers were real. They were telling what the head of the corporation was doing with his money, where he was flying around to, what vacations he was taking. I was basically calling him a corporate pig and a fascist on these things, which he was, and they really didn't like it. So
Like, because it's slanderous slightly.
yeah, but I said it's coming from me. I don't have a union logo or anything on it. I mean, but
Yeah.
because we're unionizing this and that. But it wasn't slanderous if it's true.
No. If the shoe fits,
Yeah,
then how?
I've always been really militant, and I think that scares some people and it empowers others, but I don't know how to change, and I don't really think I should. If I go against something, I'm going to go full speed ahead and fight it with everything I have.
Hmm.
And I think more people need to have that mentality sometimes so we can move along. What do you think could be done to change the workers' perceptions, to kind of wake them up a little and get more people on board for the next time something like this happens?
That's a very good question. I definitely feel like if in between workers, if there's more of an understanding of our humanity and community, then that definitely would help people, like workers, of course, feel empowered enough to think that they can and they do have a voice to stand against companies that are taking advantage of them. I think that would in turn move the process along much better.
Besides fear, what do you think caused division? Do you think it was just some people believing what they were told, or do you think it was racial, or do you think it was just total fear and that's it?
Um, I want to say for my location, I would like to say mostly fear and yeah, just fear and security in their 20 hours barely 20 hours a week. They're just so secure in that.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
still
sorry.
here.
I had my mic muted.
Oh,
I do shows and sometimes my dog barks, so I mute the mic in between so you don't hear her. Um, I'm sorry. What was I saying? Oh my goodness. Um,
oh.
you were talking about the workers. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Do you think that? I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to think of ways to go about waking people up. Do you think it's
I
just
think,
just the propaganda and like we need
yeah,
to?
and it all starts from when we're younger. Because I don't know about you, but I definitely grew up with a family who, despite them having their time being on social services and stuff, they would look down upon people who needed subsidized income. They would
Yeah,
look down on people who were working low wage jobs and unskilled jobs. And so that was something that was always resonating in the background of my mind. And plus on TV, like you see, oh, the dumb worker, the dumb restaurant worker, or whatever, And then it's just something that it's like, oh, well, this is your job. You're supposed to be lowly over so many years. Like that's beaten to your head. And then if you happen to get that job as an adult, then you're like, oh, well, oh, I don't have a voice anyway. I deserve this. I'm not worth anything. I'm just a piece of crap. And it's like,
yeah,
'cause no, like I feel like if I could redo the whole thing, I would totally come at people with my heart more than with logic because I would come with numbers and stuff. And they didn't like that. They didn't care about that. They didn't want to know how much the CEO is making compared to us. They didn't want to know that, he has a jet and what type of car and like what school his kids are going to or whatever. Like they didn't care that he's getting grade A stuff. Well, they're over there getting food stamps and they're over there on Section 8. So McDonald's is not only saving a penny on paying their employees, but also saving a penny because the government is paying what they should be paying. Isn't that's genius? But still the worst. And
yeah.
I would just be like, don't you feel like you deserve better? Like I would totally just go straight for the root of the issue, which is insecurity and just depravity of self, I feel like, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, so I think from what you said, it is probably societal. Why do you think that a lot of people? I mean, because you were a cashier there, so you were taking their orders. Now, let's say they went to another sit-down restaurant and a waitress or waiter came and took their order. They view them higher and they tip them. No one at
Hmm.
McDonald's gets tips ever, and I always wondered why that is. It just seems so weird to me. I mean, I've been to these people work really hard. It's packed. I mean, I've been to fast food places before where there's just lines and lines at lunchtime.
Hmm.
And these people are slaving away, rushing around, running around, and there's no difference. I don't know. I always sit here and I think, like, how can I make people, what kind of propaganda can I use to change people's perception of how things are? And it's a
Yeah.
real uphill battle all the time, but I'm always trying to work that out.
Now, if I'm correct, isn't it that most waitresses and waiters also have a different hourly rate? They don't get minimum wage?
I think it just depends on the place, but I'm not sure. But I think, yeah, I think some of them do, and then some of them, I believe they tax their tips now,
Yeah. Because
which
I
is
was a waitress at one time and um, my pay was different than my like kitchen
yeah. I saw
coworkers.
I saw a way people are getting around that now. What they're doing. In the last few days, I saw a couple tweets on Twitter and on social media about this. People, you know how the receipt when you go to a restaurant says tip and then how much you leave, and they'll
Mm-hmm.
write taxation is theft and zero tip, and then they'll leave $5 or $10 for the person and say this is a gift, it's not a tip, so it's tax free.
Ah,
Yeah, so there's ways around it, and people are smart to do that, and I think that was an awesome thing to do.
yeah.
But in fast food, that's irrelevant because people don't even get tips. They don't have a tip jar for you guys, do they?
No, of course not. I've seen that, and when I do see it, I'm all, oh, nice, and I'll put a tip. But like, yeah, no. And then the McDonald's I worked at was the busiest one and the highest grossing one in Los Angeles. The one on pretty much Vermont and Third.
Oh yeah, I know where that is.
Yeah, and they've
Wow.
had enough money to remodel. That's definite.
Yeah, because they're not paying their employees. You guys paid for that. Now you can work in a nice looking place and still
Oh,
be
great.
poor.
Have fun collecting your food stamps this month.
Yeah, blows
Well,
my
we
mind.
have these new walls made out of stucco. Ay.
It's disgusting. What do you think? Let's go to the other people, like people who don't work at fast food. Um, Anything from people who have no job to people who have a great job. What do you think they should be doing to help out the workers?
I feel like everyone should be banding together and speaking out, and we definitely need to be working out our government system and employee system in order to make this country last for a long term security versus this kind of like quick, slightly, oh, some are getting rich quickly while some are just totally getting poor super fast. You know, I don't even know what to, I guess
Yeah,
capitalist. Let's just call it the spade a spade.
so better
Um,
better wage equality, and everyone needs to stand up for it,
yes,
basically.
everyone needs to fight for total equality, whether you're broke or whether you're doing very well for yourself. And then I totally commend those millionaires who drop their status or billionaires who drop their status because they're being philanthropists, you know? Like,
Who would one
cause,
of those people be? Because I haven't heard of too many of any, or if any of these people.
um, now I'd have to look that up. I've, it's like things that happen upon and see it, and I'm all like, oh, cute.
Yeah, I think it should be illegal to be a billionaire.
I also,
I always have, because they're hoarding money. I mean, the money should be going to the people, and they're hoarding it, and the generations of their family are going to be rich. I mean, look at the president we have now. He hasn't worked a day in his life. He was handed $200 million. He's failed everything and been bailed out of it by his family and his wealth. And now he's president and showing exactly what CEOs do. They don't do any work and go golfing all day and sit around, have meetings and drinks, and, while their employees slave away and make them rich, or richer in his case.
yeah,
So I think that's the best thing about Trump is he's getting people really pissed off and ready to fight, and he's showing that corporate CEOs really don't do anything. They're just lazy, lazy, lazy people who live off the sweat and labor of others, and always have had everything handed to them. In most cases, I'll say. I'm sure there's probably an exception to every rule. But in the world, we have less than 3 or 4 thousand billionaires, and the majority of them were born with it.
yeah.
So yeah, that's why I'm not a fan of the ultra rich, because they hurt everybody else.
J.K. Rowling is one. I just looked it up.
Who? I'm sorry.
J.K. Rowling.
Oh, the writer from Harry Potter and all that. Yeah, she seems
Yeah,
pretty awesome sometimes.
sometimes. She
And
went
she
from
and she
billionaire to millionaire. Still, millionaires kind of doing a lot because you really only need, I think, 200,000 to live pretty good.
yeah, wasn't she poor at first before she wrote the books, or was she always kind of well to do?
I believe so. I
Yeah, I've
believe
heard. I
so.
mean, I've heard stories. You know how people just make up stories sometimes. So like,
Yeah.
um, well, that's cool. Yeah, I've seen her do some pretty awesome things and say some cool things online. I don't know a
Mm.
whole lot about her. I'm gonna look her up though. Now that you mentioned that, I know you said you had to get to work today, so we'll probably make this a shorter show than usual. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you the last word to say anything you want to say or anything you think we missed that needs to be brought up. This is your time to just have a platform to say whatever you want to say.
I feel like most of the people who are going to listen to your show are already going to be active, but I definitely want to say that for me personally, I feel like some of the best and most fulfilling times were while speaking out for myself and for others, and to not be afraid, because the only thing you can gain is, I mean, the only thing you can lose is time, really. I mean, you know? So, but
Well, I
you can
think,
gain a lot in making your voice heard.
yeah, I think people got to realize that a minimum wage job. I mean, I understand people have families and things they got to pay for, and that job means everything. But if you have a chance to make it better, you could always find another crappy job, pretty much. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
the hardest thing to do.
Make your
Today,
own.
yeah, in today's economy, it's a little harder than it used to be, but still, standing up for your rights and fighting for all the people. I mean, yeah, I mean, I never feel better than when I'm on the right track, I think. Like, for me, a lot of times when I start getting attacked online by Nazis and alt-right scumbags, I feel empowered because I feel like I'm doing the right thing.
Mhm.
It's like they hate me this much, I must be on the right track. And it's the same thing I believe with that. You know, the more the corporations hate you, the more you're a thorn in their side and a threat, and they see you as making a difference. I think that's awesome, and I think it empowers people, and the people unite and stick together. But there is that fear of, oh my God, I'm going to lose this little couple of dollars I'm making, and then what am I going to do because I really need it? I can't survive without it. We got to
Yeah.
find a way around that. And, you know, I almost wish that some of the union dues would go to take care of people when things like that happen to them. Like if you get fired trying to fight for a union, they should take care of you until you can find something or try to help you out. Or I know some unions do that, but I know a
Hmm.
lot of them nowadays don't. Um, I'm a big proponent of, I mean, a advocate of striking and just shutting places down. Like you don't want to pay us right, then you're not going to make a dollar today. And if you hire more people, good luck getting them in the store.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, we do have a lot of activists that listen to this show, but we do have other people too, and I just like to wake people up, and I like to make sure you guys' voices all get heard because I don't know everything. I know very little, and it helps to have a lot of different people's opinions in this, so we could come up with a plan to attack it and make it better. So anything
Yeah.
else you want to add, Simone, or you want to wrap this up?
Um, no, I don't think there's too much I want to add. Maybe just a reminder that even though you're a customer somewhere, that you could very well be the employee. So definitely look at company standards and spend your money based on that, because you don't have to give everyone your money all the time. Like whatever you earn, you don't have to just give it to whoever, especially for nonsense stuff. Like I'm directing this at McDonald's.
Yeah,
Not
McDonald's isn't the only one. They're pretty bad, but there's a lot of like really terrible places just like them. They're not all fast food. There are different kinds of jobs, and yeah, people just need to stand strong and stay united. That's the key.
Yeah, stop
Without
giving these
unity,
companies money when they're not treating their employees right.
yeah,
That
like
could
I've
be your.
never, I've never in my life been in a Walmart because of that reason.
Hmm.
Um, I don't even know what, other than the people at Walmart videos, I don't know what one looks like inside really. Um, but yeah, I do that because I've known some people who work there, and I know how horrible it is. And
Hmm.
I don't usually eat at fast food places, although sometimes like I'll get one of those dollar drinks at McDonald's, and I hate myself afterwards. But I'm so thirsty sometimes.
Yes, I
but
understand.
but yeah, I really appreciate you coming on the show today. And I hope the people listening will get involved and stand up for their coworkers and the workers at the places they go to. And if they're not being treated right, boycott that place. Make sure they don't make money. Stand with the workers.
Hmm.
So thanks so much, Simone. You're always welcome to come back if you have anything else to say on People's Radio. We're here for the people.
Thank
And
you for having
I,
me.
yeah, I know you. talked to me the other day about one of your friends. Just contact me in the next week or two about that, and we'll go ahead and get that show set up too. Okay.
Okay, sounds great.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Simone. I really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you. Thank you
All
for
right.
having me. I enjoyed it very much.
Okay. Bye.
All right, bye.